So you want to change your life this year, whether it's your health, wealth, relationships or yourself. And you're seeing all this stuff online about believing in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. But yet you do believe in yourself and it still doesn't happen. And I want to explain why. Believing in your current self is a waste of time and it's stalling your progress and it's just giving you the same results every day. So, yes, you want to believe that you can do it. Yes, you want to believe that you can achieve it. Yes, you want to believe that you are enough, and you believe that you have enough, and you believe that there is enough, and you believe that it's all on its way, or even better, you start to believe that you already have it, and then you start to act in alignment with the character and identity of the version that you that already has it. But believing in your current self isn't going to get you there, isn't going to make the changes. Cast yourself back 10 years ago, when I was in debt, when I was on my own, when I didn't have a lovely wife and a daughter, when I didn't live in the beautiful island of Crete, when I didn't have time, location and financial freedom. My current self back then was a bit of a wanker, an alcoholic, a bit of a victim, a bit of a cynic, quite the pessimist of life. And that current self had poor standards, had a really poor self-image, didn't have really good habits, you know? So believing in that version of myself to achieve what I have now isn't going to get me there. So believing in your current self, with your current habits, with your current standards, with your current belief systems, with your current image of self, isn't going to make the change. So you have to start believing in a different version of yourself. You have to start believing in the future you. You have to start believing that you can make the change. You have to start believing that you can change your perspective. And this is what it all comes down to. I don't know how many times I've said the word believe or believing, but hopefully this is getting through to you. Because I used to always sit there many years ago saying, I've just got to believe in myself. I don't believe in myself enough. But then when I kind of self-reflected and I looked in the mirror, I was like, well, the version you are right now isn't going to get you there. So what I suggest you do, and this is what I did to transform my life from zero to hero, as they say, right? And you're probably thinking this is another bullshit backstory, but it really isn't. My wife will tell you, when we first met, she was everything I wanted in a woman, but I was about 50% of everything she wanted in a man, because she only knew one side of me, but she didn't know the other side until later on. And that was the side of me that was, you know, lacking discipline, lacking focus, had poor standards, didn't have a control or handle on my addictions and habits, and just floating about in life. And what I had to do was a self-audit. And I really do recommend you do a self-audit. And I actually did a training with my clients on this last year around the 3 things that you need to have a happy, successful and financially stable life. And if you'd like to see that video uploaded, just comment the word upload below and I'll put that replay up. It's about an hour and a half long, so you'll need to be sitting down or on a treadmill, whatever it is. But I go through these 3 things. And the 3 things I had to take a look at and the 3 things that I had to change was, number 1, my beliefs. So my belief systems. And the crazy thing about belief systems is that you cannot act out of alignment with your belief systems. So for example, if we look at football teams, right? I'm not into football, but most people are, I get it. If you're an avid Arsenal fan, you will not be able to wear a Chelsea shirt or a Tottenham shirt in public, because you have a belief system attached that team is shit, that team is bad, that team is XYZ. If we look at politics, whether or not you're a Trump supporter or not, whether or not you think he's great or not, you have a belief attached to it. So if you think Trump is good, then you cannot be in environments or you cannot act in a way that is opposing to him. The same way, if you hate Trump, you're not going to be able to wear Make America Great Again hat, right? with me, I have a belief system around nutrition, that you need to eat single ingredient foods, whole foods, and most of your diet should be made up of good healthy fats and proteins, pretty much carnivore / keto. And that's what I believe. So if I was going to try and go vegan, unless I change my belief system around it, I'm not going to be able to consistently munch on vegetables every single day, because you cannot act out of alignment with your belief systems. So if you think, and this is a crazy thing, I was having a conversation with a Dutch lady in one of the shops in Hessonasos. This is the village that I live in. And she was asking me what I do for a living. And I was saying what I do for a living is I help people manifest their dream lives. I help them with sales, I help them with marketing, I help them with business, but I mainly help them tap in to the inner work, morning, of changing their character and identity so it's in alignment with where they want to go. And she was slightly confused. And I said, well, for example, I have a client that lives over in New York. And when we first started working together last April in 2024, and it's nearly April now, 2025, if you're watching this many months or years into the future, and he was making about $14,000 to $17,000 a month, right? Bouncing up between $14,000 and $17,000 a month. And he had these beliefs around making money. He had these beliefs that it took more time. He had these beliefs that X, Y, Z, right? And I helped him with his character. I helped him with his identity. And I helped him with his money blocks. And then also gave him the tools and systems to build a bit of leverage and automations. And then in November last year, he hit his first ever 100k month. And as soon as the Dutch lady heard the 100k month, it kind of triggered her a little bit. And I know this to be true because her response was, well, I hope he's doing good things to make that money. I hope he's not doing bad things to people to make that money. And what I said to her was, I understand where you're coming from, but with all due respect, you can't want more money and associate evil and bad things with it. You can't want more money and think that people that have it are evil. That cannot exist in the same place. So if you have this belief system, my arms are aching, that's what I'm changing. Oh, we've done a massive workout this morning, me and the wife. Don't know if you want to say hello to YouTube. She hates being on camera. But anyway, so I said to her, look, I understand where you get this belief system from, right? Like when I was younger, not younger, but like 5-6 years ago, I bought my first car, like a sports car, okay? I made enough money and I bought myself a nice BMW. It was a BMW 4 Series M Sport. Beautiful car. And as soon as I pulled up to show my father it, the first thoughts he said to me was, what, you a drug dealer now, right? Same thing though, not to penalise my dad, but when I met my wife, I worked in a gym. I barely worked many hours. I wore a tracksuit most of the time, and I drove a BMW, and I was always on my phone. So she thought I was a drug dealer, right? But what I'm trying to say to you is that people associate people that make money, they're doing something bad, or that they're evil people. And I get why, because we build these belief systems through our 5 senses, through our environment and our experiences from being a child up until this moment right now watching this. And I was told when I was a kid, you know, save money for a rainy day, time equals money, when it's a fucking lie, because money equals time, because you can make money work for you. You know, I was told money doesn't grow on trees, money is hard to come by. You have to work a load of hours for someone to get a little bit back. And it was just like, even with movies, you know, watching movies when I grew up, all of the superhero movies, all of the superheroes, the good guys were orphans and poor, and all of the bad guys and the bosses were rich tycoons. Even watching the movie Titanic when I was a kid, they fabricated the story into it to make the movie watchable, but it had to be a poor little boy, Leonardo DiCaprio, that gets a winning ticket on the boat, and all the people that are evil when the ship is going down, they're all the rich guys. And what you don't realise is over time, it starts to program your mind, and that programming turns into a belief system, and that belief system, which you cannot act out of alignment with, is blocking you from making more money. So you want to be starting to look at your beliefs around making money, around being happier, around having more positive interactions and relationships, and around yourself as improving yourself internally and externally, physically, mentally and emotionally. And then when you write this down, I want you to see and get a red marker at all the beliefs that aren't serving you and cross them out. And just be like, these beliefs aren't serving me. Because they're only beliefs. They're not true. That's what a belief is. A belief is a perceived truth. Like I said about my belief around nutrition is eating shitloads of red meat, ribeye steaks every day pretty much, right? But your belief system right now could be like, oh no, if you do that, you're going to get like heart disease and you're going to clog up your arteries, you're going to get high cholesterol. So if I say to you, the best way to improve your health and lose 100 pounds this year is to just eat red meat, then you're not going to do it because it's a belief system. I hope you're getting this now, right? And everyone is just trying to chase money, and they're trying to chase their goals, and they're trying to chase the business, they're trying to chase the relationship, and it just gets put in the horizon because they can never catch it. Because what you need to do is stop chasing that and start chasing the version of you that can have it with ease. Start chasing the character that you need to develop, the self-image that you need to shape, and the belief systems and the skills and the habits and the traits of the version of you that can have it. Which moves me into the other two, right? Which is your skills. Like at the moment, you might not have the skill set to do so. So if you want to make more money, you might not understand how money works. You might not understand about marketing, sales, whatever it is, right? To get healthier, you might not understand about nutrition. But you have this phone that you're watching me on right now. And if you go into the settings of your phone, you can look at screen time and see how much average screen time you have a day. And most people averagely have like 4 to 6 hours. And yes, it's for work sometimes and family. But did you know that if you study for 18 minutes a day, the one thing that you want to improve on for a year, you'll become an expert. Because it takes about 100 hours to become an expert in an area. And if you become an expert in an area, and more of an expert than people are at currently right now, and you becoming an expert at that thing solves a problem for you, you can solve it for others and they can pay you for it. And if you just get mad obsessed with that, and you just develop that skill set further and further and further and further more, then you're always going to stay ahead of your market, and they're going to continue to pay you and opportunities are going to come up. And then the last one of the three is your current traits, your characteristics. So you might be someone at the moment that can't finish anything, right? You may be lacking focus. And one of the things that's really small that helped me develop my focus was even when I was in the car and Spotify would connect, I wouldn't allow myself to skip the songs. Because if I can't get through one song for 3.5 minutes from start to finish without changing it, my wife's smiling at me, without doing that, how the hell am I going to focus for up to an hour to learn a new skill? How am I going to focus on building a business? How am I going to focus on implementing one task? So I find a lot of people lack focus. So going back round to what I was saying in the beginning, and as I said, if you want below, just comment the word upload and I'll post that video of that recording with my clients, is that we have to start with self. We have to look inwards, not outwards. This little dog, every morning, look. Every morning, he's so cute. Honestly, we've got a Cocker Spaniel, and my wife and I are thinking about getting him a little brother, maybe a little long-haired dachshund or something like that, because, you know, we've got the baby now, she's 7 months old, and I don't give him as much attention as I used to, and he's my firstborn, as I say. But anyway, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know how I segue out of things, right? But you have to do this self-image. It starts with self. We can't expect our external world to change without changing our internal world. We can't expect to make more money without changing our beliefs around making money. We can't expect to make more progress in the gym without working inwards of why we're not focused enough and have self-discipline. And we need to learn new tools and new skills and pick them up in order to progress and make an impact. Because of the value you put out into the world is the amount of money that you get back. Your leadership and how you show up for yourself and your standards is what you're going to get back. You don't get what you want in life, you get back who you are. And when I really fully understood that, I was like, yeah, I get it now. So everything is working out for me perfectly. I am living my preferred reality, whether I like it or not. And I keep trying to wrestle with the universe. I keep trying to tussle with it, and I'm forcing it, and it's getting fucking exhausting. So when I let go of control of everything outside of me and did an audit on myself of like, well, what are my standards like at the moment? What are my habits like at the moment? Like, am I living the life and am I showing up daily as the future version of me would if he already had it all and created it all? And the answer was no. It's like, cool, let's get to work. So by doing that audit and by reversing and inverting those beliefs, guess what? You can start to tell yourself a different story. You can start to change your perspective. And when you start to change your perspective, you start to see different options and opportunities showing up. And then you can make decisions of whether you take action on it or not. And when you start to take action and you start to see progress, you start to trust yourself more. And then when you start to trust yourself more, you create confidence, you create courage, then you create momentum, and then you become fucking unstoppable. And this is not for clout, this is not a flex. You know, like I said, I was a fucking loser at one point in my life. I really was. I was pretty much like ready to just wave the white flag and say, I'm just going to settle for this mediocre life. But now, coming home to this every day, after a beautiful walk with my family, now we're going to have a lovely Cretan lunch. Just going to pick up the baby as we go up the stairs. All good? Excuse me. It's a bit fresh out here today. So, if I can do it, you can too. I'd love to know in the comments what your biggest takeaways were from this today. How funny would it be if I just fell in the pool? And look, I haven't got it all figured out. I'm just a few steps ahead of you. That's all it is. And I know something that you don't know. And there's someone else out there that knows something I don't know. But if we all keep sharing this message, if we all keep putting out this value, if we all keep lifting each other up, we can all go on this journey together. So stop believing in your current self. Your current self is not capable of getting you there. Because if you already had the beliefs and skills and traits and habits and self-image of the version of you, my lovely dog, of the version of you that has everything you desire, you would already have it, right? And yes, it's a tough pill to swallow. I had to swallow it, maybe you're gonna swallow it today. So you can start leveling yourself up first. Upgrade yourself from the 1.0 version to the 2.0 version. And everything you desire can be attracted to you. Everything you desire can be on its way to you. But you have to stay in that frequency. You have to stay and trust yourself and become that future version. Don't believe in the current you, believe in the future you. Much love, guys. I'll see you in the next one.